Hello, Blackhawks Nation. Welcome to Blackhawks Daily, your favorite recap of the daily buzz around your Chicago Blackhawks. I'm your host, PJ, and thanks so much for tuning in during this extremely dry off season. I hope that you guys had an amazing Labor Day weekend. The weather was beautiful, just absolutely perfect. I got to hold my daughter's engagement party, which was a ton of fun, and thank goodness the weather held out. So that was kind of amazing. Just a perfect weekend for it. So I hope that you guys also had a fantastic weekend. As usual, not a lot going on with this off season. We're just waiting for training camp. We're waiting for the puck drop on October 7th. I did want to mention though, a couple of our friends from the channel, Sniper Score 3302 and Ryan Austin 1970, did mention their distaste for the thumbnail titles, which I don't argue with. Just to remind everyone, the company that's running this part, doing all the thumbnails and all that stuff, they have their methods and their motives to try to assist in growing the channel. So once we're at a good point of growth, the clickbait nature will absolutely subside and be much more tied into the content of the actual videos. So thank you. Thank you very much for being a part of the community. Thank you for being along for the ride. And thank you for your support. So I do really appreciate that. So let's get into the top 4 topics of today. So let's get this out of the way. Connor Bedard is the guy. But if the Blackhawks are ever going to take the next step, which we are all waiting for, it can't just be him. So today we're talking about 5 players who are going to matter just as much as Bedard this season if this rebuild is actually going to move forward the way we hope. And so look, it's no secret every time that Bedard touches the puck, defenses lock in on him. He's Chicago's really like their only real threat. Like obviously we have some scorers on the team, but he is clearly a step above. And the opposition knows it. They swarm him, they suffocate him. And as much as Bedard can carry the load, he just can't do it alone. Guys like Ryan Donato he had an excellent season last year, a very solid season. Nick Foligno brings leadership, but the truth is Bedard needs actual support around him, consistent production, not just occasional flashes. We brought in Bertuzzi, Teravainen, and both were way too inconsistent last year to pull attention off of number 98. So, and of course, if this young core is going to be legit, it's time for some of these names that we've been talking about to pop. So here are 5 players who absolutely have to take a step forward this season, or this team just isn't going to really go much further. Frank Nazar, number 1. So let's start with the obvious one. Nazar just signed a huge extension after only 56 career games. He's got skill, he's got speed, and a ton of upside. Now he just needs to produce. And if he can double or even triple last year's 13 goals and 14 assists, it kind of changes everything. Bedard needs a legit running mate. Nazar can be that guy, and I think we signed him for that long-term contract because we believe he is that guy. Number 2, Alex Vlasic. Vlasic gets lost in the shuffle sometimes, to be honest, but make no mistake, he was the first of Chicago's young defensemen to prove he belongs in the NHL. He's with a 6'6" frame, his reach, his defensive instincts, they are elite. So, and he had 26 assists last season, and it kind of shows that there's some offensive game in his pocket as well. With Seth Jones gone, Vlasic needs to step up and be the guy on the blue line, and he has to be that guy for a full season. Number 3, I'm grouping these two, Sam Rinzel, Artem Levshinov. So yes, they're being grouped because both of these young defensemen have the kind of upside that can truly change everything for our team. If one of them even flashes Duncan Keith level impact over the next 2 seasons, this rebuild can speed up really fast. Vlasic might be a great number 3, but Levshinov and Rinzel, they have Norris Trophy level potential, and we'll see if they start showing it this year. And 5th, Spencer Knight. So finally, the goalie. Knight is entering the season as a clear number 1. He's playing for a new contract as well. If he can give the Hawks any kind of consistency early in the year while this defense learns on the fly, he'll earn that extension and solidify his name on the long-term roster. He doesn't have to be a Vezina guy right now, but he does have to be steady. He's got to be sharp. He's got to be really ready to steal games when things get chaotic in front of him, which they will. So this season has to be more than just Connor Bedard highlights, even though we love those. It just needs to be more. If this season wants to take a step forward, even just from the bottom of the league to competitive most nights, it's going to come down to this group of players stepping up and giving Bedard the help that he needs. And the pieces are there. Now it's just about turning potential into production. So who do you think will step up the most this year? Nazar? Vlasic? Maybe Spencer Knight locks it down in the net? Let me know. Drop your picks in the comments, and let's talk about it. We got plenty coming up for us for training camp. So it's going to be some fun discussions. Moving on from there, people. As we mentioned, training camp is almost here. And while there's a ton of hype around Chicago's prospect pool, we've been ranked really high. It's we're in a really good position for the long term. Let's talk about 6 guys who aren't making the opening night roster. And no, that's not a knock on them. It's just a reality of where they're at in their development. The Blackhawks are about to have legit battles for roster spots, especially in the bottom 6 and on defense. On the blue line, we already know Alex Vlasic, Connor Murphy, they're locks. And after that, it's crowded. It's a crowded field of kids, right? Levshinov, Renzel, Korchinski, Del Mastro, Allen, Crevier, even Wyatt Kaiser once he signs. That's 7 guys up for maybe 4 spots. And then up front, you got Landon Slaggert, Colton Dock, Lucas Reichel, Oliver Moore, Ryan Green, AJ Spellisy, and Aiden Thompson fighting for 2 forward spots. And then in net, Spencer Knight is your clear number 1. You got Arvid Soderblom likely backing him up. And then, of course, we have our favorite ghost payrollee, Laurent Brossoit, still a mystery box. Dude's missed a year with 2 surgeries on his knee, and we've heard basically nothing. So what does that mean? It means the following 6 guys, they're virtually guaranteed to start the season outside the NHL, right? So here's where everyone's going to be down, I think, down in Rockford. First up, Drew Commesso. We already know that, right? He made his NHL debut last year, but only because of injuries. He played 2 games. He looked fine. But if we're being honest, he just isn't absolutely NHL ready yet. He's developing slowly in Rockford, and with Knight and Soderblom healthy, there's no reason to rush him, especially when his ELC is up. After this season, the team wants to give him a bridge deal. He's got potential, but barring injury, he's not going to be in the net opening night. So, and he's not going to be on the roster opening night either. Tage Harding, a solid depth piece for sure. We haven't really mentioned this guy's name at all this whole offseason. And he's not going to be jumping guys like Levshinov, Renzel, Korchinski, or even Kaiser on the depth chart. Maybe he earns a call-up down the line, but on opening night, he's not going to be on the roster. Marek Vanacker, first rounder, headed back to the OHL with Brantford. He might get a 9-game look in October, but let's be real. The Hawks are playing the long game with guys like this. He'll cook in the juniors for another year. Here's what I'm a little hopeful for, but Nick Lardis. Now, this one's interesting. Lardis scored 71 points in the OHL last year. Sorry, not 71 points. 71 goals in the OHL last year. Obviously, the kid can shoot, but again, he's likely to be headed for Rockford. If he lights up like Nazar did last year, he could be in Chicago by Christmas, but he's not cracking the starting lineup. Not today. Martin Misiak, he had a great playoff with Erie. He's got some tools, but beating out Slaggert, Dock, or Reichel, it's not going to happen, at least not yet. He'll be down in Rockford as well, starting the year down in Rockford. Paul Ludwinski, tough rookie year. He had just 12 points in Rockford. He still got upside as a potential 4th-line grinder, but right now, there's just better options in the bottom 6. So, look, there's no knock against any of those guys. This is all a good thing. Having a talented prospects not make the roster out of camp means that your depth is finally improving, which the league is really taking notice of. The key for these 6 is to keep developing, keep grinding, and be ready for when the opportunity comes, because in an 82-game season, those opportunities will come up. So which of these guys do you think has the best shot of surprising us this year? My bet's on Lardis, but would love to hear your thoughts as well. And moving on from there to our third topic of today is if the Blackhawks are serious about climbing out of the Central Division basement, then some of the kids have to break through, right? So we just talked about 6 who weren't going to make the opening night roster. But now we're looking at 4 young players with a legit shot to make the opening night roster. And that's good news for the rebuild. So let's be honest. Kyle Davidson hasn't exactly been lighting it up in this offseason. Really, really quiet. No big splashes in free agency, no veteran upgrades outside of what was necessary. Part of that is the market. It dried up really fast, if you remember. But also the biggest reason, he's just banking on internal growth. Guys who've already been drafted, developed, and now they have the responsibility. They need to take the next step. So that doesn't mean the Hawks are going full youth movement. You still got veterans like Sam Lafferty, who just came back, Jason Dickinson, Connor Murphy, standing in the way of some of the younger names like Colton Dack, Nolan Allen, AJ Spellisy. But those guys may have to wait their turn in Rockford. But there are 4 young players who should absolutely be on the roster when the Hawks open the season on October 7th against the defending champs, Florida Panthers. Starting off, Artyom Levshunov. So it's the big name, right? Last year's second overall pick, still only 19. And he's already got a taste of the NHL with 18 games and 6 assists. And look, the Hawks didn't bring in a single veteran defenseman this offseason. Outside of Murphy and Vlasic, no one on the blue line has a full NHL season under their belt. So unless Levshunov completely falls apart in camp, probably unlikely, he should make the opening night roster. His upside is massive, and the Hawks need someone who can move the puck from the back end. He fits that mold perfectly. And then, of course, Sam Rinzel, another former first-rounder. Rinzel came out of Minnesota looking polished and ready. He even had 5 assists in 9 NHL games after signing his ELC. The Daily Faceoff is already projecting him on the top pair to start this year ahead of Levshunov. So the Hawks clearly believe in his poise and his puck-moving ability. Barring a total misstep in camp, Rinzel's making the team. I feel very strongly about that. Oliver Moore, big favorite of a lot of people, also from Minnesota, also signed at the same time as Rinzel. Moore's speed alone might just get him in the lineup. He's more of a natural center, but with Dickinson and Lafferty still around, he might start on the wing. Either way, elite speed is something the Hawks need to inject into their bottom 6, and Moore brings that in spades. If the team wants to push the pace more this year, Moore has to be a part of that conversation. And lastly, Landon Slaggert. So Slaggert was like this close to cracking opening night roster last year, and instead they went with veterans. This year, he's got another great shot. He brings grit, effort, the kind of motor you want in a bottom six winger. He's not flashy, 6 points in 33 games last year, but he plays hard. He wins puck battles. He can move up and down the lineup if needed. New coach Blashill is going to want guys who can grind. Slaggert's built for that role. So these 4, Levshunov, Rinzel, Moore, and Slaggert, aren't just maybe later prospects anymore. They're legit options for opening night, and their development could set the tone for the entire season. If 2 or 3 of them hit early, that's a big win. And if all 4 show that they belong, you're suddenly looking at a much more exciting team in October than most people expect. So who's your pick to make the leap? A lockdown of roster spot? Is Levshunov the real deal? Does Moore's speed force the issue? Drop your predictions in the comments. Let me hear them. And lastly, speaking of comments, we do have a couple of hot takes. So we have repeat offender Mr. Spencer Hawk, 9742. Lafferty back with Dickinson should generate some PK excitement. Yeah. And heck yeah, we need some penalty kill excitement, but also get us on the edge of our seats, right? If Lafferty hits a couple of shorthanded goals, how awesome will that be? So I'm down with you, Spencer. Absolutely. And then Mikhail Kruvarov wrote, had an argument with a guy that said no possible way Kane makes Team USA. So we talked about last week about how Kane's, like, the one thing he's missing is a USA Olympic medal. So Mikhail had an argument with the guy, no way that Kane makes Team USA. Also said Nazar is a possibility after his performance at Worlds, and depending on how the season goes, he can play on any line, competes on every shift, and skates like the wind. Kane is a seasoned removed from being a point per game player still. He does things on the ice that no one else can do. You need a guy like him, in my opinion. And I agree. I really hope he does well. And I hope he makes the team, because how fun will it be to root him on in the Olympics? That's, even though he's got the wrong sweater on, it would be awesome to have him do well. I mean, he deserves it for sure. So that's a wrap for today, Blackhawks Nation. Thank you so much for being a part of all this. Let me know your thoughts about everything we've been talking about. Thank you so much for piping in all the time. Thank you for showing up, supporting Blackhawks Daily. Really appreciate that. Thanks for all the likes and the subscribes and your sharing about the channel. Thank you for helping me prop up, not that it needs propping up, but keeping the steam behind this original 6 team. It's the best team in hockey. It's the best city in the world. Thank you for all the support. Let's go, Hawks. Centennial season coming up. I'm down for it. I'm really excited. Thank you for coming on this journey with me, guys. That does it for today. And I'm PJ, and I will see you next time on the Blackhawks Daily.